Welcome everybody to the Magic Beans podcast. We are back again for episode number 109. I'm your host tonight, and my name is Shorty, and I've got a couple of beans on the line with me. Tonight we have Chewy. How's it going, mate?
Good, mate. Happy New Year. Happy New Year to all the listeners out there.
Yeah, that's right. That happened in the last couple of weeks. It's just been one continuation of the same last 2 years, so haven't really noticed the difference. But anyway, we'll get into that soon. We also have Cracker. How's it going, mate?
I'm good, thanks, buddy.
Very good. So, we had a bit of a break. What was it, like 3 weeks since our last
we did the
episode
interview
released?
with Azzy G, and so I think we had 2 weeks.
It's 3 weeks since that episode released, and so we recorded the week before. So it's nearly a month since we actually recorded an episode, which is quite a long time for us. Had to look up the episode numbers and try and remember how to do an intro and all that sort of stuff. So
that's been the longest hiatus we've had since we've started, actually. So wow.
Yeah.
Are you guys feeling fresh and refreshed? Because I'm not.
I am. Like today was nice and hot. I set up the pool, and so I've.
Oh, you're still on holidays. Yeah, the rest of us
been for 2 swims. Yeah. I'm not back at work till next week, so yeah, it was good. I shoveled a whole bunch of goat turds this morning and chook poo, so that was exciting.
I mean, you bought them.
Yeah, I'm just waiting for Ryan to get big enough that I can start getting him to do the jobs, because there's no way the other two are going to do them.
I thought for a second there you were referring to your kids as the goat turds, but yeah, okay, got it, right.
Just shovel them up and throw them in the pool.
Yeah, that's right.
Yep. But yeah, we did have a bit of a break, which is definitely good for us. We needed a little bit of a break from all the things we'd been doing, and a bit of downtime from work, and a chance to actually catch up, which we certainly did over the Christmas break. We also got to catch up with a couple of people from our Beans community, which was awesome. But before we get into all the things we want to talk about tonight, we're going to talk about our awesome sponsors who've decided to come back on board again for some strange reason and continue their support of this dumb podcast. So, Chewy, do you want to tell us all about Josh and Pat's MTG Bazaar?
My pleasure. So the Magic Beans podcast and our tournament series, which we'll talk about a little bit later, is brought to you by the fine folk at Josh and Pat's MTG Bazaar. So if you head over to jpmtgbazaar.com.au, that'll direct you straight to their Facebook page where you can bid on physical Magic cards. They have auctions 7 nights a week. The auction on the weekend are primo. All of the sort of high-end stuff. It's super pretty to look at. I can't afford any of them, but I love looking. And you can bid on some cards there, get an absolute bargain. They have tokens and they've got a whole library of tokens, and including the Not the Threat token, and our previous MV winner is working with Pat and the artist on their custom token. So pretty exciting. You can you can bling out your cube or whatever deck you're playing with Josh and Pat's tokens. They're pretty amazing. And when you do win an auction, please tell them that the Beans sent you, and then they keep showing us the love, which means that we can still have these tournament series and show you the love. Great little ecosystem. Spend the money, win the money back, but you've still got Magic cards, so you're coming out ahead. It's amazing. Get on them.
You're always coming out ahead when you're getting more Magic cards. That's the way it works.
It's just value. Magic players love value.
Yes,
and the thing is, you win a Magic card from Josh and Pat, you get a token. It's a 2-for-1. It's amazing.
Oh, yes.
What more could you want? What more could you want?
Yep. 3-for-1. That'd be nice.
Well, then you're getting these free tournament series from the Beans. So it's ancestral recall every time you win an auction.
Yep.
Yeah.
And there's also the buy it now stuff that Pat's doing these days. So when he's posting up the auction stuff, there's also a thing for cards that you can just buy now for the set price. So there's a big posting with a whole list of cards and their prices, which are very, very competitive prices. And you can just comment on there, sold, and bang, done. It's just like you bought them from a store. And you've got to be very, very quick, because the prices are so good that most things sell within the first 5 minutes that they get posted. So definitely check out those and grab yourself an absolute bargain. So like I said, we did have a bit of a break, but there hasn't been that much going on in the Magic world. It's, we've been on holidays, as has all the Wizards people. So not a lot going on, no major tournaments, all that sort of thing. But we've caught up quite a few times actually over the past few weeks. We caught up over Christmas, but before Christmas we actually played some Modern. I don't think we spoke about it. I think that was after we recorded the last podcast. Is that right, Cracker?
It was definitely after, and I was glad of that because I wasn't sure how I could justify on the cast playing a mono white deck. So.
It's not really a mono white. I mean, it is mono white.
If you head to @MagicBeansCast on Twitter and just scroll down, there is photo evidence of Cracker with a basic planes in play. So
yep. And let's not find out how my record went because those planes got their comeuppance pretty savagely.
You had a pretty tough round one opponent, so not surprised.
It was great.
Was the round one opponent better than my round 4 opponent? I'm not sure.
His round 1 opponent forgot many more triggers
I think
than
my
your
round
4
one
opponent did.
Yeah. I think yes. So my round 1 opponent was Shorty, which invariably happens. But yeah, we went to play at I've gone blank on the name of the store. Games Portal. That's right.
Yep.
In Ringwood, and a whole bunch of the beans turned up. It was us and Chris.
And yeah, Tom D was there from the Discord, Envy competitor.
Yep. And yeah, we sleeved up Modern decks for the first time in
forever. What did we work it out? Like 2 years?
I think the last time I played Modern in an event was Hogak meta was legal. I'm pretty sure was the last time I played. So that's Modern Horizons 1. Anyway, so I played Hammer Time. I wanted something that was pretty straightforward because I haven't played Modern in for forever and I didn't know anything about how to play complicated decks, and I had a lot of fun. Like, I got absolutely rolled and had a great time doing it. So yeah, it was sweet to just play in store with, some stakes.
Actual people.
Yeah, actual, people you haven't met before, and
talking to people between rounds about what happened was so much fun. Like, I really cherished that. There was, I've played a lot of more Magic, and we spoke about this at the end of last year. Like, I played more Magic last year than I've played in a really long time, but it's all been Arena. But playing and then seeking out you guys, or one of the guys that I know from that Ringwood store, and going, how'd you do? Oh, they did this, and they had the this and that, and good beat stories, bad beat stories, that sort of stuff. That's the stuff that I really, really love. In between rounds when we're sharing those the events of what happened the previous round is just the most fun. And yeah, it was great. I played an Old Faithful deck. I looked at all of the super exciting, spicy new Modern decks that I really, really wanted to play, and then I goldfished Eldrazi-tron, and I'm like, I really like this deck. And I played it, and I think I went 2-2, but, that was pretty rusty, and, it may be a little underpowered in the current meta, but it felt like, just like playing paper Magic with people and people that I enjoy spending time with, catching up with old friends, playing that deck again felt like catching up with an old friend. So I got a 2-for-1 there. So yeah, it's really, really good. What about you, Shorty? What did you play? I know you played against both Cracker and I to a 50% record, and you played something a little newer and a little more spicy.
Well, I mean, I played an Old Faithful, but it was a newer version of it. So I played Grixis Death Shadow, which I've played many, many times in Modern, but the new version is substantially different to the old version. Modern is very much a Modern Horizons 2 format now, and we may touch on that in a minute, but yeah, the deck looked very not similar to the previous versions, other than, I guess, Death Shadows and Mishra's Baubles and a whole bunch of fetch lands and shock lands. There was not a lot the same. Went in completely blind, hadn't played a single match of that deck, hadn't goldfished it, just took the list and borrowed some cards from Chris, and away we went. Missed so many triggers. I don't even know how many Dragon's Rage Channeler Surveil triggers I missed, and how many Mishra's Bauble draws I forgot to get, and I never remembered to put Lurrus in my hand once. Despite the long game that you and I had, Chewy, where I had ample opportunity to put it in my hand and play it and get a Mishra's Bauble and dig a little deeper. Nah.
I was actually getting ready to scoop because it's like he puts Lurrus in his hand here and then he plays it next turn and it's just completely outvalues me and snowballs me. And then it's like, no, he didn't put Lurrus in his hand. What counterspell does he have? Why didn't he put Lurrus
next turn? Nope, didn't put Lurrus in his hand again.
And I felt like that meme with that lady doing all those calculations. It's like, why hasn't he put Lurrus in it? And then it dawned on me, oh, he forgot.
He's just forgotten.
So yeah, and then I went, oh well, I'll just try to win the game, and before he remembers, and I got there. So yeah, don't forget about your companions, kids.
Yeah, yep, and yeah, triggers in real life paper is a lot harder. It's too used to playing Arena, but no, it was awesome fun, and I think we're going to go on a tangent here, but what you were mentioning before about sort of the catching up with people before or between rounds, Chewy. I know when we sort of first went into lockdown and we were doing, I think it might have been some of the Red Bull events or some other big events that were on at the time, and there was a bunch of like a few of us were playing it and a few people from our Discord were playing it as well, and so we're all on at the same time playing set rounds because the event was on MTG Melee, and so we had the same thing in between rounds. We would all jump into the same channel on Discord and we'd all have that chat and that banter, and yeah, I'd completely forgotten that was something that we do, and it was super enjoyable to catch up with people between rounds and just talk about the bad beats and all the things you forgot. So what are like we saw a pretty diverse format. Cracker, what were the other decks you faced? So you obviously faced me in round one with GDS. What else did you see?
I played against Infect, Green Black Infect, which was
not from Matty Paulson.
No, Matty Paulson wasn't there. It was terrifying because the Black 1/2/2 has got pro white, and my deck is mono white with the exception of a few artifact creatures. And then I also played against, I mean, they call it mono blue Living End. It's Teamer Living End now, but basically all the cyclers are just blue, and then you've got Violent Outburst and Shardless Agents for your cascade things. And I lost horrendously to that, which felt a bit like being, again, served some comeuppance, it was I was like, all right, well, I guess I lose to the deck that I've loved for forever and I didn't play it. It's my own fault. But yeah, that deck is, like you said with Grixis Death Shadow, like it's got Living End, it's about the same.
That's about it. Yep.
The mana base is different. It's just a totally different thing now. But it was awesome to see, there's just like, and like you said, there's subtleties in it, and there's, Brazen Borrowers and like Archmage's Charms and all these different things, and just comes at a completely different angle. So that was cool. And I can't remember what the last one that I played against was, which is sad because that's actually the only one I won. He was doing some crazy like homebrew combo stuff where it was like artifact ramp and a bunch of stuff. He was like Tron, but he wasn't Tron. And
that was the deck that played what's the XXX artifact that
Astral Cornucopia.
Yeah, I saw that guy sitting next to me at one point, and I'm like, this deck looks great. So yeah, okay, cool. But I didn't see it do anything.
Modern has a bunch of random things in it still.
Yeah.
Correct. Yeah, so he was just like trying to find it out and what it was like, and I, managed to turn one Esper Sentinel, turn two Sigarda's Aid, Hammer. Attack you for 11. Would you like to pay 11 to stop me drawing a card?
That's pretty good.
Yeah, that's pretty filthy way to do that. But
yeah, nice.
So that was just pre-Christmas, and then we obviously had a Christmas break where we all caught up a couple of times. We didn't actually get a cube off, which was a bit disappointing.
We did play quite a bit of Modern and a fair bit of Commander.
Yeah, so that was that was pretty fun. I did enjoy all of that. We played some good matches. I got to do some things with many permanents at various points, and then I was on the receiving end of some impressive beatdowns and combos as well. So yeah, it was great. It was, when you're just happy to be playing Magic with your mates in person, it's like, yeah, I won, I did a thing, and then it was like I lost, but I lost in a really cool way. So I'm happy about that too. So it was super fun. So it was good. And even Blaster Boy came down for a match or two.
Yeah, played a couple of games of Commander with Chewy and I. That was good fun. Good to see him. Good to see him still slinging spells.
Yeah, love it.
Of the red variety, again, of course.
What else is there
as always.
when you have the Blaster Boy?
Yep. But yeah, we also got J-Mud, our resident statistician, and our Envy champion Jedi's Walker to come over, and we drafted Modern Horizons 2, which was good fun.
Yeah, what a set, huh? What a set.
Yeah, that was quite fun. Some really good decks getting around. I think Jedi's had a really solid synergistic deck that pumped out a lot of value. But he ended up getting taken down by Zach, who's not sure what he is on our Discord.
Stu's not here, mate.
No, but a long-term friend of ours. So it was good fun and good to actually. I mean, we've caught up with J-Mud plenty of times, so he's just one of the usuals now. But nice to actually meet Jedi's in person and spend some time and
save money on posting his Envy prizes to him.
Yes, actually hand him his invitational prizes. Didn't have to trust the post with that awesome Wheel of Fortune. Just give it to him directly. So that was good. One thing, I'm going to quickly mention this just because a lot of other people have been talking about it while we're sort of talking about Modern. We played that Modern event, and then we played a whole bunch of Modern at over Christmas. And like you said, Cracker, and I said as well, with the decks that we're playing, they are completely different to how they used to be. And there is just so many Modern Horizons 2 cards getting around now. It's getting pretty crazy. And we might talk about this maybe next week, but a lot of people are talking about Pioneer again at the moment because they're going, well, Modern is crazy expensive and it's basically turning into a rotating format with all the new, every time an MH, Modern Horizons set comes out, it completely changes the format. Pioneer has now turned into the only format that is genuinely non-rotating because it only gets the sets from Standard. So I've listened to, I don't know, Cracker, if you've listened to a few of them this week as well, but like 5 different podcasts this week have been talking about how Pioneer is all of a sudden a really good format. So might leave that there, and just as a bit of a preview, maybe next week if we don't have much to talk about, because I don't think we'll have Kamigawa previews yet. We may have to have a bit of a look at Pioneer and what's going on there.
Let's see if you can convince me to play Pioneer, because I've not played a single match of it yet.
Yep.
Although everything you just said about Modern, the one constant, things are always changing, but the more they change, the more they stay the same. Chalice of the Void on 1. Still a good card.
Chalice on 1 has never been better because the mana value of Modern, I think, has dropped.
Give me my Mox Monkey back so I can cast it on turn 1. Give me my give my
Spirit Guide back.
Yeah, give me my Spirit Guide.
Yeah. And Opal as well, just because why not?
Yes. And Truckland Ironworks.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's divulged pretty quickly.
Yeah. Look, it took me, in my defense, it took me like 19 minutes before of the first cast of the year.
That's true.
Yeah. So
that's some good restraint there, Chewy. Well done, mate.
I think I've done well. See if I can get to 20 minutes next week.
Cracker, you did some vintage cubing this week?
I did, yeah. I jumped on one last night. I had my free draft, and that was the last day of it, and I was like, oh, well, I'm not letting this go to waste. So I jumped on, and Chewy and I went through a draft and ended up twin-ish. No, we ended up with twin. We got, we had a Deceiver Exarch and an actual Splinter Twin, and we had Kiki Jiki and then just a bunch of cards to go with it. And actually twinned a couple of people out. It was pretty great. Turns out that's still just a lot of fun.
2-1 in the end. And the way that you won the last game of the last round was actually my favourite.
Yeah, for sure.
That was very good. You had Splinter Twin, but you didn't have a Deceiver Exarch.
No, but I had a Goblin Rabble Master.
And if you were just the beat down.
My opponent had a very dirtly deck. In fact, I'm still not sure what they were trying to do except draw all the cards.
They had a Library of Alexandria, they had a Windfall,
Mox Ruby, and they had a Time Walk as well.
Yeah.
I had no power. So their deck was definitely much stronger than ours, but all they did was draw cards. Admittedly, I was very jealous the whole time that they were just drawing more cards than us, but we just cast a Goblin on turn 3, and then we made a copy of it on turn 4, and then on turn 5 we played Kiki Jiki and copied it again, and it turns out if you've got 2 or 3 Goblin Rebel Masters making tokens and getting pumped, you kill them real fast.
I have done that in Standard.
Yeah.
It's pretty fun.
Pretty great.
It's pretty fun.
Yeah,
pretty great.
Chewy, you did a couple as well earlier in the week?
Yeah, I love me some Vintage Cube, and I think I had 4 2-1s and a 1-2. I didn't quite get a trophy out of it. I tried very hard and I came very close, but I always ran into somebody with like 3 pieces of power and they just, crushed me. So, but it was really, really good. I love Vintage Cube. It's great. I even did a couple of Arena Cubes. Had a less successful, win rate overall on that. Always just, how sometimes you run really well in Magic and then it's like, I win this game as long as they don't have this one specific card. Oh, no, they've got it. I had like a few days of that over the weekend with Arena Cube, but that makes up for all of the times where, I've had it, I guess. So that's the variance of the game, but it's still really fun. The drafting, the Arena Cube's actually pretty good. I don't know if it's still running, but
I think it is, or it was yesterday at least.
But it's only a couple of $1,000 gold to enter, and well worth it. So
yep,
good fun.
Yeah, cool. And I actually played some Arena yesterday. I jumped back on the stream, fired the stream up again, and played some Historic, and got the old chickens out of the bin.
Yes, you did.
Many times.
Yes, you did.
Yeah, so I played through a Historic event. I ended up 7-2, so got the 7 wins. So did well. But if you haven't seen it, there's a clip that's on the Historic channel on our Discord. I managed to pull all 4 chickens out of my my library and put them into my graveyard in the one turn, just to completely rub extra salt into the wound for my opponent. I think like 2 chickens would have been more than enough that they could handle.
For those who don't know, Arclight Phoenix is what we're referring to as bin chicken, right? So
yes.
It's a bird and it goes into the graveyard. There's a bird in Australia and probably other places in the world called an ibis, and they love a garbage bin, and we refer to them here colloquially as bin chickens, so that's what we're calling the deck. So if you're going, what on earth are they talking about here?
No, it's an alchemy card. You haven't seen that bin chicken alchemy card?
No, I haven't spent the wild cards on that, because they're mythic. Yeah.
For no reason.
You don't want to spoil draft, man.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, that was very cool. And like, kudos to your opponent for not scooping and like letting it play out, which made the
they did, yeah. They waited until I attacked and then they scooped. But it was like I hit that last one off of. I had a surveil to resolve off of a Dragon's Rage channel.
It's amazing what happens when you're
and it was like, and I'm saying to chat. Yeah, I'm saying when I don't have to remember them myself, I'm saying to chat, it's like, oh, imagine if I get this last one, like that would be so good. And then, flips it up and there it is. It's just like, put that in my graveyard and let's go to combat and away we go. It was so good.
Pretty rude.
Definitely go watch that clip. But no, it was good. Played a bit of Historic and format seems like a bit of fun. And we may talk about Historic a bit more over the next couple of weeks and have an announcement around that towards the end of the podcast. So we better move along. We're almost halfway through our allotted time and we've gotten through one section on the show notes.
Right on time.
Yes. So we did mention Alchemy there, so we're just going to have a quick chat about Alchemy. So, as I said, like I fired up Arena yesterday, played some Historic. That is literally the first time I've played Arena since my last league match, which was in October last year. So I have not played Arena at all for a very long time, which means I have not played any Alchemy. I believe neither of you guys have played any Alchemy yet, and probably not intending on it anytime soon. So Wizards came out, when was it? The 12th of Jan, so earlier this week, and they made an announcement about Alchemy, which is really odd. So this, I'm going to read, no, actually that's not the part I was going to read. Basically they said they're not going to, that they know that people want to see some rebalancing in Alchemy, but they've got an Arena Open on this weekend, so that's we've spoken about those plenty of times before. It's the usual thing you can enter, best of 1 or best of 3. If you get through to day 2, you can win cash. So definitely give that a go if you're keen. But that is Alchemy. That's on this weekend. And then next weekend is a qualifier weekend, which is one of those weekends where if you've made top 1200 in Mythic, you qualify for it. And then if you do well in that, you can get through to the set championships, that sort of thing. So both of those events are Alchemy. And Wizards has come out and said, Yeah, we know we've got this fancy digital format where the whole purpose of it was to be able to make changes as much as we want, rebalance things, and keep formats exciting and that sort of stuff. But we're just going to make you play the same format, and then afterwards we're going to do those rebalancings. So we're going to make you play a dead format, and then literally the day after, or the week after the qualifier weekend, we're going to change the format. So don't bother, getting deck lists or anything like that. So what is the go with that, guys? Can anyone explain that to me?
No. I don't. Yeah. So one of the things
leave that silence in there.
Yeah, I think so. One of the things they did with Pioneer was they actually really aggressively banned and unbanned cards on a monthly basis for like the first 6 months or so of the format. And it was really cool. Like, you knew it was coming, and that wasn't a digital-only format. That was a paper format. But it was from the outset, that was the whole premise. We're like, look, here we go. We've got a whole bunch of cards we're going to throw in. We don't know how it's going to play out, so let's just adjust as we go. I wish they'd taken the approach here. They said that they were going to do a similar sort of thing, right? Like what'd they say, 6 weeks or something like that? They were going to do
originally I said every month. It was like, monthly we'll make adjustments and change. I mean, the format's only been out since, like, for basically just over a month.
Right, so then make
like
adjustments.
8th of December, I think it released on Arena.
Sure.
But yeah, it's like the whole purpose of this format is it's digital only. We can do whatever we want, and we can make formats exciting and that sort of stuff. And then they just, for no reason at all, go, no, we're just going to stick to our same old system that we've been doing and wait and see what it looks like after the event. And I understand they want to see high level play, not just ladder play, that sort of thing. But why not do some rebalancing the week before it, make it an exciting format, and then see what happens when the high level players play that format, and then you can make more changes after that if you want, because that's the format that you've got.
I guess the argument from their perspective, not that Wizards needs a devil's advocate, but is, no, I don't got nothing. No. It's the idea that, you don't want to have to break a format before a large event. Has historically been the argument that they've run.
Yeah,
which
but that's been
runs
the argument
counter
for
to
paper events.
But then it runs counter to the fact that PTs were 2 weeks after set releases, right? So, you give them to, Yeah. I don't know, man. And the thing that annoys me about this particularly is that they're setting a precedence for just not having to do things now. Like, they didn't have to do a lot, but let's make a couple of changes. Like, let's keep it in the mindset of the format will be moving constantly. Like, let's just do something. Like, let's buff some random commons. Like, who cares? Just do something.
Pick a random archetype that you go, this archetype's close, or like, look at the deck lists that are being played and go, all right, here's 5 decks, because obviously they get all the win percentages on their end. They can get all that data. You go, okay, here's the top 5 decks that are doing really well. They got really high win percentages. Then here's 3 decks under that are not quite there. They're doing okay, but they're not quite there. Let's just buff a couple of cards in those 3 or 4 decks that are that next level down. Yeah, and spice it up. And then all of a sudden it's like, okay, we go from a format where we're going to have 3 or 4 decks as the top decks to a format where potentially like someone can go, ooh, okay, this card that they just buffed now has this cool interaction, and I can bring this spicy deck, and people have only got a week or 2 weeks to prepare for it. And if no one else finds this deck, then I've got the broken deck for the format, which is what we've seen in Pro Tours in the past, and it's awesome when that stuff happens. And then after it you go, okay, hang on, that deck is now broken, so now we just change it and adjust it again, whatever. So
just make like 50 really more cards for party, because that mechanic just never worked.
Yeah, pick a mechanic and
just like go, all right, here we go, we've got these things are all wizards now, and these things are all clerics.
Just add creature types.
Just add subtypes to them, man. It's fine. Easy.
Yep. So, yeah, they did tack on to their announcement. I'll read this. So it says, after the qualifier weekend, you can look forward to Alchemy's next phase with a new handful of rebalance cards coming your way. There will be boosts to some fun cards that aren't getting much love right now, as well as adjustments for some current strategies. We're excited for it, and we hope you are too. Yes, do that, but before your major events. Goodness me, Wizards. Hopeless. And, like, that's something we sort of look at with our events is ideally you want your, like, if we're running a standard event, we don't want to run a standard event just before a new set releases. Because, yeah, exactly like you said, it's an old format and it's about to get changed anyway. So we want to run, like our Envy was Crimson Vow Standard, like 2 weeks or something after Crimson Vow had released, specifically for that reason, because it's like, okay, this is going to be a brand new format. Let's see what we get. Didn't pan out that way because Standard was already super stale and the set didn't have much of an impact, but
we tried. We did our bit.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we don't design the cards. When we did that Alchemy podcast, like I was quite, okay, this is going to be the future. Like this will become Wizards' flagship format for all their major play and that sort of stuff. Yeah, well, like they're obviously pushing it. Like you got the Arena Open this weekend. There's a qualifier weekend. I'm pretty sure they've already announced the next qualifier weekend is also Alchemy. So it seems like their premier play is going to be Alchemy, and it's likely the next set championship may also be Alchemy. I don't think they've announced that yet. So it's going to end up that side, but they do need to manage it in a way that continues to make it exciting and make people want to play it. What I'm struggling with, and I mentioned this to a few guys sort of over Christmas, I don't want to spend any wildcards because the way things are going to work now, Kamigawa comes out on Feb the 10th, then 3 or 4 weeks later we get a bunch of Alchemy cards. Then like a month or so after that we get a new set, and then a few weeks after that, we get more Alchemy. When do I get to the point where it's like, okay, this is the deck I want to play and I'm happy to craft my cards? We don't, because it's like, do I play Standard? Do I play Alchemy? Do I wait? Like, when's the meta settle? Like, when do I figure out what I want to play? I don't know. And so I'm just stuck in a spot where it's like, okay, well, I guess I'm just not playing Alchemy or Standard, and I'll just play Historic or something else instead. So it's interesting. Yeah, I'd like to see where we're at in 6 months' time and sort of, yeah.
It won't change because fundamentally it comes back to the economy being broken.
Yeah,
right?
I think we should do a podcast, maybe almost an evergreen on the arena economy and maybe compare it to other games and things like that. But yeah, the economy is a bit messed up. So
yeah,
anyway,
a bit of research on the other games might be in order, but yeah.
Yep. So Alchemy, I'm not willing to touch it yet. Yeah, when I said I was going to stream yesterday, I had some requests for Alchemy, and no, I just don't want to. I'm limited on my wild cards. I don't want to spend them now and then find out that my deck is no good and I've just wasted all my wild cards. So, yeah, it's an interesting time in Arena. So,
you got to save them for all these sweet ninjas we've got coming, man.
Yes. Good segue to our next topic. So, Kamigawa Neon Dynasty. I keep calling it Neon Destiny, but no, it is officially Neon Dynasty. Is coming out in about 3-4 weeks. 1, 2, 3, 4 weeks, I think it is. Previews start on the 27th of January. I think we'll have about a week solid of previews again, so we'll definitely be covering a bunch of those. We've already seen a few cards, which we may touch on later if we have enough time. But Chewy, you shared with us today a video that Wizards had put out, and I'm like 3/4 of the way through watching it. It's quite interesting. Do you want to give us a bit of a rundown on what that was?
Yeah, absolutely. So it's on the main Magic channel, on the Magic the Gathering YouTube channel, and it's hosted by Jimmy Wong, everyone's favourite host. No, Cat Bauhaus is everyone's favourite host. Everyone's second favourite host. And it is titled Building Worlds, Kamigawa Neon Dynasty. So, and it's a bit of a roundtable discussion with some of the creatives involved with the process. And they talk about the art influences, doing a callback to the original Kamigawa set, which was 18 years ago, which was insane. So I've been telling people been playing Magic for 17 years, but it's actually 19. I think I've been saying 17 years for 2 years. But yeah, that's what happens when you get old. And I had an onion on my belt, as was the style at the time. But Simpsons reference. But what I really liked was they've obviously listened to some of the feedback from the original Kamigawa set. Now, bear in mind, Japan is an amazingly huge market for Magic, right? There's a lot of people in Japan that enjoy this game. And then they brought out this Japanese themed sets, and it was pretty appropriative in some aspects and just wrong in others, where they just took certain tropes, added some very Western stereotypes to them, and that was Kamigawa. So what they've done to mitigate that this time is they've actually brought in a cultural consultant to make sure things are true to the source material. It's still a Magic set, and they still need to make cards to be a functional Magic set, but they brought in this team to try to make it less offensive, and it sounds like, by watching this video, that they've done a really good job. And some of the things that were really interesting came about were, not all ogres are bad guys, making sure that weapon use and armor was appropriate to the creature type, and right down to the detail of, if you tuck the right side of your kimono in first or your left side of the kimono in, one means it's like a burial garment, one is how you wear it day to day. So right down to that sort of level. So it was pretty cool to see that, and see that representation, and see the culture from the original Kamigawa that we saw all those years ago evolve into this, futuristic cyberpunk-esque, neon setting. And anyone who's been to Japan, been to Tokyo particularly, there's a lot of neon lights. It feels very Japanese, modern Japanese. So it's a great mix between that feudal Japanese and modern Japan. And I'm quite excited about it. The video really kind of sparked my interest, rather than just about the cards and what's going to be playable and what decks. It's actually got me really interested in the world. So if you're interested in the fluff, the flavor, the world building, the characters and such from a Magic set perspective, I do recommend checking that video out. Did you?
Cracker's all over that stuff.
Cracker.
I watched it. Yeah, no, I thought it was interesting.
Crackers of Orthos. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. That's
Feels casual.
I think it's interesting that they showed a lot of material of, like, here's the way the kitsune or the kitsune, however you're supposed to actually pronounce it, we're going to murder this set. We apologize in advance for our terrible pronunciation. We promise we'll be better than Saffron Olive, but not much. But like, there's art guides and all that sort of stuff, and it's like, it would be cool if that was just released, like, after the set. Like, I know they do.
I did see someone put that in the comments, and like, you're telling me you've got a whole book that is like the art director and the world.
Exactly,
the world
literally
document
got
or whatever.
Yeah.
Can you please release that so all these people that do role playing stuff have access to all that?
It's just
that'd be a good idea.
It's a massive amount of effort that this whole team has put in.
It's like a 300-page document, right?
You just never see.
And if they're doing the Magic D&D crossover stuff, like we've seen, obviously with the D&D set, there was a campaign, and then there was
maybe the Ravnica one
as well. Yeah, like if I'm going to play a Magic themed D&D campaign, if I've got that book as source material when I'm like not only playing, but if I'm DMing, to have that to delve into as a reference would be amazing. Aside from that, what an amazing coffee table book.
Yeah, I was just going to say that.
Yeah, that'd be sick.
Just put it up online. Like, what's it doing otherwise? Like, come on.
Make Wizards. Money out of it, Wizards.
I was going to say, you can monetize this.
Got to make money out of it.
You can work that out. It's not that hard. Yeah. Put it up on Kindle or something. But yeah, I thought that was really that was the part that interested me. It's like, you get stories that go along with, like the new Kato and, Planeswalker and all that sort of stuff. So that's cool, but there's obviously a lot more that doesn't go into the little, stories you get to read. So I don't know. I'm keen, man. I loved Kamigawa. Like, that was kind of right when I started playing. That's when I was learning still.
Yeah, well, that's what I was going to ask. So I was pretty sure. I know you've got a Snakes Commander deck.
I do.
And yeah, I know you had a few decks from around that time. So that's when you actually started playing Magic around Kamigawa?
Yeah, so I started playing in, like, 8th edition was kind of the first cards I ever touched.
Yep.
There was, like, some precons from then, and then there was the, like, Darksteel, Mirrodin block before this, yep. which I played through, but super casually. Like, that was when I was first very much learning how the game worked in any way, shape, or form. Yep. And then, Kamigawa is when I was kind of starting to, like, build my own things. And I remember getting, like, this mono green snake precon thing and adding cards to it. And, like, that was a lot of fun to me. So that's kind of when I got right into it. It was great.
Yeah, I know. Like both Chewy and so like Chewy, you started playing around similar time to Krakow. I've been playing for quite a while before then, but when Kamigawa was in standard was the first time I started playing competitively, and being introduced to cards like Kakusho and Yosei. It was just like, what? These cards do what? What do you mean? You're going to sacrifice it and then you're going to bring it back and it's going to do the same thing and I don't get to untap it? Like, what?
Sacrificing Yosei to greater good. Oh,
yeah, greater good.
Peak magic. I remember looking at that and going, I can sacrifice Kakusho to that and they're going to lose fight. But then it's like, oh, hang on. The white one means that they don't ever get another turn?
Yeah, basically.
I mean, it is their turn. They just get to play one land and then pass it back.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. But I mean, we've made it sound miserable. But that Ravnica Kamigawa standard was. I haven't found a standard better than that in the 20 years I've been playing this game.
And it is hard to know. Like, I mean, we've spoken about this previously. Like back then, obviously, we're looking at things through rose-colored glasses. You know, that's sort of when we first started playing competitively. So you've got all this nostalgia and all that sort of stuff. But it was also in a time that is so different to what it is now. Like the first couple of tournaments I played at Card Heaven, I was playing random garbage brews with one of this card and two of this card and a deck that just did not function at all because there was no like net decking was sort of not really a thing. There was no coverage. There was like nothing really to get a metagame off.
No planeswalkers?
Yes, before planeswalkers as well. But yeah, like this was a long time ago where formats weren't solved. And I wonder, and this is something, I think we've suggested this before on the podcast, it would be so good for Wizards to do flashback formats and, you know, re-release sets or like re-release a set onto Arena or whatever and go, okay, here you go. Everyone's been raving about how good Kamigawa Ravnica Standard was. Here it is on Arena for 2 weeks. You can play it.
They've done that on Magic Online before.
Yeah, and actually see what it's like. And I know, like, they've done it on Magic Online. I know people run like private tournaments and things like that where you're playing an old format. But yeah, it would be interesting to see if a format that we're so fond of actually stands up to the test of time when you've got millions and millions of matches being played in the space of a few days sort of thing, or if it just gets completely broken, you're like, okay, maybe this format wasn't so good. But I'm super keen on Kamigawa as well. And like the thing I found interesting watching that video was obviously when Wizards do a set that is just based in their world, like a world that Wizards have created where they're not referencing things like, you know, we've seen Kaldheim, which is obviously a Viking-based set. We saw Strixhaven, which is a Harry Potter rip-off. But there's other worlds, you know, like Innistrad and things like that.
Yep.
Yeah, there's the worlds that they've created. So you're not having that real-world cultural accuracies that are required for that set to you know make sure that you're doing things properly. So I don't know what extent that they go to, but watching that video, it's like, wow, like you guys have gone to so much effort for effectively just the art on the cards, because like what the creatures actually do have nothing to do with cultural significance. I wouldn't think so, but it really just comes down to the art. And for so many people, the art on the cards means absolutely nothing. But I guess you want to make sure that you're getting it right. And if you can build that world successfully, then that makes your set more popular. So
I did like that they still need to represent ninjas to be accurate, and I think that's something that we'll see when the set comes out how. And I'm obviously not a Japanese historian because I don't know, but how well that's received. So ninjas in, you know, sort of Western popularized culture are, you know, some sort of, murder cult, is I think the term they used in the video. And the samurai are, these honorable, stoic warriors, where in reality they were people. So there was different factions and different types, and trying to represent that through the game and the mechanics and the cards. I think, some of the mechanics can reflect that. The art is absolutely that's the first thing you see reflecting that, but I think it does go deeper than that.
That's the thing that's going to get you in trouble as well if you do something wrong, as we've seen in the past from Magic cards.
Yeah, exactly. And it's a bit of a gamble, I guess. So if you've got a market for Magic as big as Japan, doing a Japanese themed set from a marketing perspective obviously makes sense, but you want to do it well so it is actually a success. So hopefully by bringing in these consultants and listening to them and hopefully getting good advice from the consultants, it is a success and it's a good set that's not only flavorful and pretty, and some of the art we've seen, like jump on a Scryfall and look at the basic lands, my goodness. But yeah, hopefully it's, not only all of those things, but hopefully it's just a good set that impacts standard and is interesting and has a lot going on. So I guess that's what we'll have to see. Yeah.
So I'm super keen on Kamigawa from a nostalgia point of view, and like I like the art style and the themes and that sort of stuff from the Japanese culture and that sort of thing. But I'm a massive fan of the cyberpunk genre. I've played a whole bunch of cyberpunk roleplay growing up. Always been a huge fan. Actually, I think Cyberpunk was actually the very first roleplay game that I played, like actual role playing, like in person role playing, not an RPG as in a computer game. So yeah, a lot of nostalgia with that as well, and always loved that world. And so seeing those two things being combined, and also like I've just recently been playing Cyberpunk 2077 on PC myself. So seeing that world in like being brought to life in Cyberpunk was really cool, and now seeing it on cards is cool. And yeah, some of the artwork that we're seeing it, and like at the start of that video that you shared, Chewy, there's a short, like 1 minute or whatever promo thing, I guess you'd call it, for Neon Dynasty, where you see a bit of the world and that sort of thing, and it just looks amazing. All the bright neon lights. There's also what looks like, I'm assuming it looks like the Wanderer is going to be in the set, based on the video. I'm assuming that's who it is in. Like, it looks very much like them. Who was a planeswalker that we saw on
Dominaria.
Ravnica,
sorry. Yeah, as part of the War of the Spark thing, right?
Yeah, War of the Spark. Yeah, and we don't know basically anything about that planeswalker, but there they are, 1,200 years in the future. So that's going to be cool, because that character was definitely sort of a samurai looking character. So
and in the video they alluded to an overarching storyline, which we haven't seen obvious signs of since the Gatewatch stuff. Where we had, the Avengers, basically. So it was cool to see that, because I did enjoy the War of the Spark, Nicol Bolas, grand master plan with the subplot of Liliana, with the demon contracts happening, and all of that stuff was pretty cool to see different sets interwoven together. So there might be a few sort of light bulb moments where we look at certain cards or planeswalkers or something from the last few sets and seeing them sort of in a new light over in upcoming sets throughout the Brothers' War and etc., where it's like, oh, that's into that, those things intersect here. They're actually related, and having a broader story arc than just a single set. It's pretty cool.
Yep. Definitely looking forward to it. Looking forward to seeing more previews. Like one of the guys said, the lands just look... Whoo, man. These lands look amazing. Definitely go and look those up if you haven't seen them. And then there's... Well, obviously, as we've been getting in every set, you get alternate printings of cards. What did you call... There's a name for this style of this alternate printing where there's like the different colours. It's like an ink thing or something.
I can't remember what it's called off the top of my head, but they one of the things with the art is there's a cycle of legendary dragons. It wouldn't be a Kamigawa set without that, but they actually commissioned traditional Japanese artists to do traditional Japanese oil paintings in the traditional style. So yeah, things like that are very cool to include in a set. So I love it.
Yeah, right.
They're called Neon Ink.
Yeah, that's it.
yeah, so there's Hidetsugu is one of them, and there's like a yellow one and a blue one and a green one and a red one. I think that's purple. I don't know. But yeah, there's they're neon ink red and neon ink yellow.
Yes.
And I think they're going to do that for a few of them. And then, I mean, they've just kind of gone ham. Like with Umezawa, Satoru Umezawa, there's like 3 or 4 different versions of him, and then there's like 3 or 4 different versions of their Kaito as well. So yeah, they're glad I don't run a website that has to tell you what version of card you're buying, because good luck with that. It's the Japanese alternate. Which one of the 3 Japanese alternates is it, though? All right, cool.
The pretty one. Hang on.
That narrows it down to all of the set.
Yeah. I think this is definitely going to be one of those sets where almost every card you're going, oh, wow, look at the art on that card. Because, yeah, like we've seen some in the past that have really sort of taken fancy. Actually, I remember cracking packs of Eldraine, and there was a lot of really cool, just like fitting in with the storybook theme. It was like, oh, look at this card, that's so cool. Oh, that's my daughter on that card. Like things like that.
Flaxen Intruder.
Yeah, I think there's going to be a few things like that on these cards. So I'm trying to get away from buying, boxes of standard sets these days, seeing as I don't really know what I'm buying them for, but I think I'm still going to be putting in a pre-order for some of these cards, because they're going to be good to crack. I know my wife's going to like looking at the art on all these cards, and I definitely want some of those lands, so I'll put in an order, because I'm a crack addict, cardboard crack, just can't get enough.
So with those basics, I think there's only 1 in every 3 packs.
Really?
Yep.
Right. So I'm buying a lot of packs.
You're not guaranteed. I could be misremembering that, but I remember thinking, it's not just like guaranteed.
Okay.
One of those ones. So I imagine it'll have like other standard basics as well.
Yeah, right.
But
I was crossing my fingers and hoping that they were coming and I was going to get a pack of them in a bundle. But that might not be the case.
Yeah, wouldn't that be nice?
We've had that in the past with some of the full art
ones. That's true.
Yeah. Yep. All right, but yeah, we might get into the actual previews. Like, we've only got a few cards at the moment, unless there's one that you guys specifically want to talk about. You did mention Umezawa. Maybe Cracker, if you want to read that one for us.
Sure, love to. So Satoru Umezawa. Umezawa is obviously a very key part of the original Kamigawa story, and Umezawa's Jitte strikes fear into the heart of many people.
Fear in the heart of many X1 creatures.
Correct. So he is a legendary human ninja. So 1 black-blue for a 2/4. And it says, whenever you activate a ninjutsu ability, look at the top 3 cards of your library. Put 1 of them into your hand and the rest on the bottom of your library in any order. This ability triggers only once each turn. Each card in your hand has ninjutsu 2 black-blue. So ninjutsu was a ability from the original set where if you attacked with a creature and it was unblocked, you could ninjutsu it in, which meant you returned the attacking creature to your hand, and then you had a ninja sneakily come and attack in its place, basically. And
so
some of the ninjas
have Blightsteel Colossus artifact creature ninja.
Sure.
Yeah,
correct.
Yeah.
So I mean, people have obviously joked about that, but ninjutsu is one of like the best things out of OG Kamigawa in my opinion. And there's some pretty, like, Fallen Shinobi was a recent one that came out where you could like cast things out of your opponent's graveyards and stuff. And yeah, Ink Eyes was one of the original ones as well. So.
Ninja of the Deep Hour was probably my favourite all time.
Yeah.
Literally draw a card, right?
Ninja of the Deep Hour is one of the most popular. We did see, what was the rogue from, that might have actually been from Eldraine that had ninjutsu, but it wasn't called ninjutsu. That was also 2 blue-black for its ninjutsu cost.
Yeah, it was one of the rogues.
No, I'm just going to say Ralzeric, but I think that's a planeswalker. Anyway, it was a blue-black rogue that had the same ability, but it wasn't actually called ninjutsu. But yeah, definitely probably the most successful...
Zareth San.
That's the one.
I knew there was a Z in there somewhere. Probably the most successful mechanic and the most memorable and remembered mechanic from that set.
Come on, man, Soul Shift. Woo.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sad they're not bringing Bushido back, to be honest with you.
I liked that mechanic, but I get why they didn't bring it back. It's not eloquent at all.
Yeah, no, I agree, but I was kind of looking forward to it.
Yep.
That's fine.
So, yeah, I think people are super happy to see this card because it is a ninja commander, basically.
Correct.
It goes very well in a ninja deck. And it'll be interesting to see if we see an actual ninja deck, because I don't think we've got ninjas in any other sets. That's not a creature type that is really in any other sets other than Kamigawa. So there may not be enough actual ninjas to play a proper ninja deck, but you may just play this guy just to get the ability to give your other creatures ninjutsu. You know, if you've got good creatures that have good abilities that trigger. Yeah, combat damage triggers. That's what I'm trying to spit out here. It's been a while since I've recorded a podcast. It takes me a while to get my thoughts together. So he may be useful just for that sort of thing. So what I want to know is, are we going to see, what's the odds we're going to see Ninja of the Deep Hours reprinted in this set?
Ooh, slim to none.
Yeah?
I don't know, 50-50. What do you think?
Just sit on that fence, Cracker.
Yeah, man. Well,
so Chewy's saying it's not going to get reprinted, or it's unlikely. Cracker's sitting on the fence. I'm going to say it is going to get reprinted. I think it is. It's not overpowered, and it is just such an iconic card for Kamigawa. I reckon it will get reprinted, and I will be so happy when it does. As will probably the other two guys on the podcast with me right now.
Yeah, for sure. It says draw a card on it. Why? What else do I want to do?
Yep. I mean, we saw, what was that? There was the squid thing from, that was Eldraine as well, that had, like, flash and mutate. You could mutate your creature and it had deals combat damage to a player. Yeah,
that's the Sea Dasher Octopus.
Yeah, that's the one. Yep. That was the closest thing we've had to Ninja of the Deep Hours.
Yeah, apart from, like, the Curious Obsession and that sort of stuff.
Yeah, yep.
Going back.
But yeah, I'd love to see a deck like that come back.
Well, I think Ninja of the Deep Hours might make that mono blue style tempo deck more interesting, more appealing in Historic.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it'd be awesome. Yeah. I would love to see it because, it's also
Pioneer.
A common. Yeah, it's a common. So I've played quite a bit of the mono blue like Delver deck in Pauper.
Yeah,
and plays 4 Ninja of the Deep Hours, of course, as well as it being in my Pauper cube. So yeah, always keen to see that card. So. That's the prediction. So Chewy says no, Cracker sits on the fence, and I say yes. We will see how it pans out in a couple of weeks. So we'll leave Kamigawa there. We will touch on the previews as we get more of them in the next couple of weeks. The last thing we'll just touch on the way out the door is the tournament series. So Josh and Pat are back, as we said at the start of the podcast, which means they are being awesome again and giving us stuff to give you guys as prizes. So we'll be running a tournament series pretty similar to the one from last year. We've sort of found that structure to work quite well. So there'll be one-day events, there'll be leagues. We may change the structure of the leagues a little bit. We will announce that as we actually get closer to the first league kicking off. But it'll be pretty similar in terms of probably it should be a one-day event between each league. So should be 4 one-day events and then 4 leagues that will roughly coincide with set releases and the one-day events being sort of in between those. So same deal, playing the leagues, they're free. You earn points, Envy points, and league winners should go through to the Invitational at the end of the year. And there'll be leaderboard where you can earn your way in just through grinding and getting enough points. So should be a lot of fun. There'll be plenty of prizes, as it always is, and everything will be free to enter. So make sure you're in our Discord to get in on those, because they're stacks of fun, and I'm looking forward to playing in them. We will announce formats as we get closer to them. We haven't locked in what we want to do for the leagues yet, so we're planning on running a historic one-day event on the 5th of Feb. So you can put that in your calendars now. I'll do an announcement about that in the next week, and set up the challenge thing for it. But the leagues are a little bit tricky, and we haven't locked in what we want to do yet in terms of playing Alchemy or Standard or Historic or whatever we want to do. Just we need to see what Wizards are doing in terms of their support and what they're pushing, as well as when things are actually releasing. So stay tuned for that. We'll give more details for that as we get closer to the league. But yeah, kick it off, historic event, 5th of Feb, free to enter. There'll be prizes. I think the previous historic events were like $200 of prizes, somewhere around that. I can't remember off the top of my head, but yeah, good value and a lot of fun either way. So, and ideally one of the beans will be streaming it. So keep an eye out for that. And that's going to do us for this week. So, usual wrap up. I've already mentioned the Discord and the League stuff. So, yeah, jump in the Discord if you're not already in there. Awesome community. Come and join us, and we'll have a lot of fun this year. You can go and check out our merch store. I did put up some new stuff on the merch store. There are some female cut, like t-shirts and hoodies and things like that. If you want to pick one of those up, go and check that out. Link is in the show notes as always. Go and check out Josh and Pat's MTG Bazaar. Grab some bargains on their daily auctions or their buy it now specials that they have going on. And then go and follow us on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, and Twitter. All of those places you can search for Magic Beans or Magic Beans Cast, and you should be able to find us there. If you want to find me on Twitter, I'm at Peace Inc. Chewy, you are?
At Chewy MTG.
And Cracker?
At Joel Hill _.
Very good. So that's it for this week. Thank you as always for listening. Stay safe out there, and we will see you all next time.